folks, Poverty Point Customs here. What we're going to do today is change my fuel filter on my John Deere 870. It has the Yanmar diesel engine. So right now it has 867 hours on it. And we're going to be using a Wix filter 33507. So we're going to pop the hood and take off this side cover on the right side. Alright, so there's your diesel filter. So you want to shut off your fuel. Now I'm not sure the last time that this was changed, so I actually put some WD-40 around here as well as in around the shutoff, because this was really tight at first to turn off. Now this was on here super tight, so what I ended up doing is just taking a screwdriver and just giving it a couple quick taps with a hammer. Just be careful not to damage right here on your metal. That way you just want it enough so you can get it about 1/8 of an inch turn, and then that way you can move it by hand after. So make sure you have a oil pan underneath. Alright, we're going to turn this clockwise. And there's your old filter. We're just going to pull it straight off. There's the old part number. This doesn't look too bad, but it looks like it's due for replacement. And this is the fuel bowl. We're going to give that a good cleaning before we reinstall the new filter. And I'm also going to clean around here. And we're also going to clean in here. Just make sure there's no sediment or anything around there. Alright, I've compared the filter just to make sure they're identical. So you're going to push this up and it kind of snaps in there so it will hang. So we're going to reinstall the fuel bowl. And I should mention there's a little spring in the bottom here. So make sure that stays in the center. And you're going to screw this on, but not fully. Also, don't forget about your rubber gasket and make sure it's not pinched. So the next step is very important. You don't want to get air in your fuel line. So what you want to do, the reason leaving this a little bit open, is you're going to fill this up and you're going to let diesel fuel leak out. And you want to let it do that till there's no air bubbles. And we're almost there. If you find it's filling up really slowly, what you can do is actually put some pressure in your fill cap there with an air compressor or whatnot, just to force the fuel through the lines. And coming out here, again, what we want to make sure is we get clean fuel coming out and no air bubbles in here. And we've got fuel coming out, no air bubbles. I was getting a few air bubbles around here earlier, so that's what you want to keep an eye out for. Alright, now we can tighten this up. There we go. If you do get air in your fuel line, what you're going to end up having to do is crack your injectors. So this saves a little bit of extra work instead of cracking all your injectors. Alright, let's fire it up. And on my last video I did the oil and the oil filter. So what I'm going to do every time I do the oil and filter, I'm going to do my fuel filter too. So I actually just wrote it on the oil filter, that way I can keep track of the hours and the date on when it was done. And again, this is something I'll do minimum of once a year. I don't put a whole lot of hours on the tractor, so it will probably be this clean when I change it again next time. Doing your oil and oil filter and fuel filter, it's cheap maintenance and insurance on your tractor. And like always, check for leaks after you use it for a little bit. And I can put the side cover on. So on the back of the tractor we have a fuel strainer. So this is before the fuel filter. So what you want to do is clean this out too. I did the same thing. I sprayed some WD-40 around the top as well as the fuel shutoff as they were both seized on. Now to loosen up the bowl, I use this here, put it on, and it's nice and gentle on it. You're going to need some paper towel and some brake cleaner, parts cleaner. First, you're going to shut off your fuel. You're going to want to make sure you have a pan below. And you're going to turn this clockwise. And you can see the bottom of this is full of sediment. And you can pull off the fuel strainer. So you're going to want to clean this out too with some parts cleaner. Alright, I put some paper towel down because we'll actually see how dirty this is. So we're just going to pour out the fuel first. And this is why it's important to clean these out. As you can see, there's probably 1/4 inch of sediment at the bottom of that. You can see all the stuff that was in it. So this would have been stuff that was in the tank. And before you reinstall this, you want to clean all up inside of there. Get rid of all the guck. And you're going to put your fuel strainer on first, just like that. And we're going to put our fuel bowl on, so don't forget to put the spring in. Always check your O-ring, and we're going to screw this on. So you're not going to screw this on all the way. What we want to do is bleed out the air. So you're going to turn your fuel on, let the fuel bowl fill up. And you don't want to screw this on fully till the bubbles stop coming out from where the threads are at. And you can see the fuel bowl filled up. And there's no bubbles coming out, so you want to tighten it up. And wipe everything nice and clean and dry. You do get a little bit of diesel out. And let's fire it up, make sure everything's working fine. And there we go. So that's how you clean your fuel strainer. And again, how to change your diesel fuel filter under there. So the reason why I do these videos is there's absolutely nothing on YouTube in cleaning your fuel strainer. And there's just very select few on changing your diesel fuel filter. So I like to do a little detailed video on how to do those step by step. So hopefully this helps somebody out there. And again, this is the same principles like most diesel tractors. The biggest thing is you want to make sure you don't get air into your fuel lines. That's why we bleed them. That's why you leave it a little bit loose till clean, clear fuel comes out and no air bubbles. So the next video you're going to see is upgrading the headlight and tail light bulbs on the old John Deere here. We'll kind of give it a little more newer look to it. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, tips, or whatnot, make sure you post them below. Don't forget to hit that like button. It certainly helps out the YouTube analytics and lets me know that this video is helpful for you.